Welcome everyone to our next adventure in drawing, particularly dealing with single point perspective. Got a few tools we're going to need. Just use typing paper. That'll work out fine for us. If you have drawing paper, you can use that as well. This one is called the small hall, mostly because it's on a smaller piece of paper. Usually the community college likes us to work pretty big on some things, and I use this as an introductory piece, but since we're at home and don't have access to a lot of big paper, we're going to do the drawing. The main drawing for our hall is this one, is the small hall drawing. I'm probably going to do this in two parts is what I'm thinking. I don't want to inundate you guys with tons and tons and tons of work that takes a long period of time. Maybe doing this in shorter chunks will be a little bit easier for us. And so we're going to start out with a blank piece of paper. What I'd like you to do is put a vanishing point somewhere in the middle-ish. I'm going to put it about right here on that, maybe up a little bit. You know, that's just kind of the way I'm looking. I want to have more of the hall coming down here like that. And so step number one is putting your vanishing point in the center. Then what I need you to do is I need you to draw a rectangle around that vanishing point. This is going to be the end of the hall. So in thinking about this hall going back into space, you want to kind of figure how big you want it to be. If I'm going to go ahead and put the vanishing point kind of in the center of this rectangle. I'm going to try and keep the sides pretty straight on that compared with the other parts. There, can go up there. That one can go up here a little bit. That was probably a little bit high on the one side. And then straight across. So that's step number 2, I guess, of those. And then I don't need this little extra piece. Sometimes you have little extra pieces and you can just erase those out. And so those are the first 2 steps about creating this hallway drawing. And we're going to utilize now, we're going to use our vanishing points to create the lines for the ceiling. And we're going to create the lines for the floor as well. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to put your straight edge ruler on the vanishing point and then the corner of this hallway. And so like I said, this is the end of the hallway moving out. And so then this line is going to go away from that vanishing point out towards this way. Notice that it does not go to the corner. A lot of people on this one, they decide, well, let's just put everything to the corner. That is not how this works. You need to utilize your vanishing point to do that. You can notice that if I went straight to the corner like this, the vanishing point is actually low, so that would create the vanishing point going here. If I went over here to this one like this, now that vanishing point is going here. I've missed the center of that single vanishing point. If I do this one over here on that, all of a sudden this has a vanishing point here. So you don't have a single vanishing point, and we know that we need a single vanishing point. So let's go ahead and set this one on the vanishing point for the next corner of our ceiling, and then the corner of our rectangle, and then draw the line going away from the end piece here. Let's do our floor now on the vanishing point, on the corner of the rectangle, and then going away from the vanishing point. Final one here for our basic setup, looking inside this box. Vanishing point, corner, and then going away from that particular area. So what we have here, we have that single vanishing point. All of our vanishing lines are going back to this one vanishing point that we have here in the center. And so that's how you really have to do this. Yeah, it kind of looks like it has it if you go to the corners, but it's not precise. And when you're using vanishing points to create your drawings, it has to be that way. It has to be to the vanishing point, like these ones here, or they're vertical, or they're horizontal. Those are really most of the lines you're going to see. There are some exceptions, and we can talk about those as things come along. So this is basically a box. This is an end of a hall. It doesn't have anything past it there. I wanted to have a little bit of hallway area back here. I didn't want it to go to a dead end or have a doorway on that one. So I'm just going to take and I'm going to draw the other side of the hall. So if we had a hallway going down here like that, and then let's go ahead and take this one across this way. So this is some markings on the floor, about like that. And so then we can kind of see this is going here. Now we also have some room on the ceiling. Since I made this about this far, I'm going to have to do the same on this side, because that's what's really going to make it work right. So about right here. So I'm thinking, just by eyeballing it, maybe about right there. And so that's going to be the ceiling of this other hallway. Like that. And then I'm going to extend this out, just because a lot of times you have those sorts of lines in your ceiling and those things on your floor. And then right out there. So now as we look down this hallway, we have this back wall here. And if we're in the drawing room, 240, we look down the hallway way down here to where this end hallway is. We have that sort of thing happening. We have those floor designs out. Let's go ahead and make even more of a floor design. A lot of times, in our building anyway, they have these dark lines that go across the floor. And so I'm going to put those in and utilize my vanishing point once again. I want these to be about the same width, and so I'm looking in through here, putting the ruler on the vanishing point, and then going away from that area. And then we have these. This is just going to be a horizontal line. I'm trying to put some of the things that I know that we see in our school, if I remember correctly. And we have maybe a thing going like where they have that colored concrete. I'm going to go put another one in through here just because maybe about right there would be good. Now as these get closer to you, these lines are going to get a little bit wider because the distance is getting greater, right? And so then as this comes down here, this one is going to be wider. Notice I don't have to worry about this, which just kind of goes off the edge, right? That's okay. And then maybe this one about like that. And so these would be those colored parts, those shaded concrete on that one. And so I'm just going to put those in so I can see this a little bit better. I'm going to shade in the direction of the surface of these marks, so some horizontal shading. This will hopefully bring that out a little bit more to where you can see it. And I'm going to continue on with little horizontal shading marks. Like I said, that shows the contour of the surface that we're trying to work on by making those marks that way. Now I'd probably spend a little bit more time in my shading, and you are welcome to do so as well to make it a little bit cleaner. When I'm done with this first part of this video, like I said, I think I was going to do it in 2 parts. When I'm done with this first part of it, I think I'll come back in and make that shading just a little bit stronger on those. But I wanted to kind of show you so it'll start to materialize. Sometimes you start looking at the lines, you get so involved looking at the lines that you forget what it is you're looking at. And so if we can put in some of those value things, it starts to look like, oh, I see what you're talking about. That's the floor. And these are that shaded concrete part. I didn't really see it before, particularly when I was looking here, but now that you put the shading in, particularly with shading along the surface, we look at it and say, oh, I see. There's a floor here, there's a hallway that kind of goes this way, and then the hallway that kind of goes that way. Now let's do a little bit more back here on things that are in there. Notice I'm not using, not everything is a vanishing line on that. I'm going to go ahead and we need some windows back here. And so I'm going to put in a line right here that says this is kind of where the windows are going to go. Let's do it this way. I'll go this far, and then I'll go this far, and then that far. And then let's go up a little bit. And these are just verticals and horizontals. The reason these are verticals and horizontals is because they are not going to the vanishing point. This is a stationary spot that is not receding into space, right? This is the back wall. Boom, flat. Don't have to worry about that. Let's put some more windows in here. the tops of the windows, and so I do not have to worry about the vanishing points for these ones because they don't recede into space. Now if I wanted to draw these so that they so that you can see like the inside of the windows, let's go ahead and do that. The part that recedes into space, it comes back a little bit like this. This one here comes back just a little bit like this. Now I can't see the bottom one because this is my eye level, right? We've talked about that on the cubes when we did those cubes. But if I wanted to see the window well on the inside of that window edge here, if I can get my pencil to work right, then these would have this sort of a thing on it, where just these little corners are going back to the vanishing point, and then these ones come down vertical and come down right here to this window ledge, because our eye level is underneath the window ledge. So we're down here on the floor, we have kind of a worm's eye view, and we're looking up a little bit, and we're below the level here, so we can't see the top of this one here. If I put it right here, if that's where my vanishing point was, then I'd see all four sides on that one. Now this one is kind of interesting here as I start to try and figure this one out. This one, I don't see this wall here, I don't see this here, but I will see the top, but I don't see the corner. I don't see this corner right over here because this is where my eye is. And so if my eye is over here, I can't see this side of it with those. And so let's go over here to the other side. And that is going to do the exact same thing, right? Because if I tried to draw a vanishing point from this corner here, it's actually going across this post piece. And so I don't see that corner. But I do see underneath here, and so I see the top of it. If I saw the corner over here of this window like it's over here, then I'd see that going back to this vanishing point here. That's how that would work. And so that's kind of cool. Kind of like that. Let's do a little bit more. Let's do one more thing here. One more thing that I want to do, maybe two. A lot of times in here we have little doorway, entryway things right here that go back in or back on the other side. And so let's put one of those guys in here. And so this is, I'm going to say this is the ceramics room right over here. And so there's some benches and stuff like that, but we're not going to worry about that. I'm going to actually utilize this piece right here. That's always a good starting point if you have little markers. So I'm just going to go from floor to ceiling like this. And then I'm going to go horizontal, going back in a little bit there. And then let's go horizontal here, all the way. And then the front part, the wall picks up here, and then I'm putting this one in here like that. So now what we have is now we have a little part here. And if we want to make that, the reason I use that line is because I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if it doesn't actually work this way on this one, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to maybe we take this line back in here like this, and this helps facilitate us seeing this entryway that goes down into here. And you can see the ceiling, it's right over here. We can see the floor, it's right down over here. But this is the other part of the wall that's coming in like this. And so we have that wall, and then we have these pieces sticking out like that. Let's see, what else could we put in here that would be kind of entertaining and fun? Let's do this. I wanted to put some bricks or tiles back over here. This is always a good sort of a thing. I'm going to connect these lines here, and then these tiles, these are going to just be drawn in with horizontals and verticals. Got to kind of keep my eye on the bottom here too, so I make this equal distance apart. And then let's put that one about right there. And so that's some of the tile stuff that we have down there. And so let's do some tile stuff. And tiles, they kind of overlap each other, right? And so I'm going to start here at the top, and I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to skip a line. Draw a line, and then skip a line. So there's about 6 of those. And I'm going to move over here, just a little bit. And I'm going to, this time I'm going to go on the other ones, this one here, and draw these 3 ones here. Oh, I see what you're doing. Make sure I'm straight here, and then back to the others. So it looks kind of like bricks, right? That's what we're after. These are tiled in kind of bricks. Now I got to go on this one. The hardest part on this one is remembering which lines you're drawing on. I always forget and end up making mistakes as we go across here. But so let's continue on those ones, and we'll go all the way across, trying to make this kind of a brick tile looking thing. And that's going to work out pretty good for us. Also, you got to remember to double check and make sure that when you're putting these lines in, that you're keeping this line vertical. And a lot of times tendency is to start when you pull it across like this, and then it starts to rotate. And so I got to double check on those, make sure I'm doing this thing right. And if you're off a little bit, that's okay. I won't tell anyone. I won't tell many people. Maybe I'll tell a few of my closest friends, but that's about it. Okay, getting there, and then across. Sometimes the detail just takes a little bit of time, and that's okay. I'm okay with taking a little bit of time on this, because detail makes it interesting to look at. And that one did go all the way up. And this is kind of a little bit of an experiment anyway, just to kind of introduce you to the ideas of the single point perspective and details, and like working in a hallway. We could do an alleyway too on that. Maybe we'll do that as a secondary one on this one. But this will give you a pretty good introduction to single point perspective on how to make this work for you. And you can create quite a realistic drawing by utilizing this tool. And some people get this. Some people are like, oh yeah, this is finally something makes sense. Some drawings that I can do. And other people just kind of like, yeah, I don't get it on this. And so it's a little bit of a struggle on those. Sorry to say that I am one of those who, when I first started with these perspective lines, it's like I totally got it. I understood exactly what they're talking about on that one. So that's kind of cool. So now it looks a little bit more like a stable hallway, right? We have the tiling effect over here. We got our windows and that. And I think that's all I want to do for this session. Because I realize that some of you you're gonna, when you do your drawing, you're gonna start your drawing, and then you're gonna pause the video, and then you got to draw your lines, and then you got to bounce back and forth between the video and the drawings, and so it takes just a little bit more time. I mean, I know where I'm going. I'm just drawing the whole thing on that. I would recommend maybe it might be helpful to have the a printout of the drawing that you're going to do. With that, or at least toggling back and forth between the video and the screen of the sample. We're drawing the sample that you see more or less on the assignment page with those. And so that is how far step one or part one of the small hall. Good luck, and I hope to see when you're done with this one, photograph this much of it, upload it so you get the points, and we'll be ready to go. Alrighty, thank you.